Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. It's been a week. We're prepping ourselves for daylight savings time. And when you live in my town, we usually, for myself and my mother, we usually go to an event that either deals with soup or chili. You go to a restaurant, you go to different places, venues in town, and you sample chili or soup. And we did this time, it's spring. When we spring forward, we sample soup. We don't always go to the soup walks, but this one's this one has a very tasty platter, a menu of things. So we'll be doing that tomorrow, but that's just one thing in the mold of what makes a weekend a weekend. And it's about the weekend. And I think throughout everything that I experience within the course of a week, the hardest time for me mentally is the weekends. Um, I have any time is really a void where there's a void of time to fill, when there's nothing to keep my brain engaged. That can be the hardest and the most challenging time for me to keep busy is to keep busy or to keep engaged in something. Some people say there's burnout, and I had to learn the hard way that I do not experience autistic burnout. I'm pretty much free to and accepted for who I am and what I do, and many of the aspects that I get to travel in, and many people, a lot of people do know I am on the spectrum, so that is something that is kind of understood and accepted, and I have accommodations for things, and people know my needs, and I'm so grateful for that. But that makes me understand that I am never an autistic burnout. What is the reality is that I need to be engaged, and my day needs to be full of a robust routine and activity. If it is not, then that's where the struggles come in, and it makes it really hard to understand that. It's not been easy, but I think part of it too is understanding that now that I'm finally on medication and finally, in a more slower speed, there is that time when there's the void and there's nothing really to do. And when there's nothing to do, it can be hard to find something to do, or your brain occupies with your mind with thoughts that are negative in nature or or things that or scripts or echolalia that can be hard to digest, and it can be hard to process. It may be past trauma. It may be past instances where things didn't go the way that you wanted them to. And I do agree that everything doesn't go the way we want it to, but there are instances where it can be damaging to us or cause some kind of negative memory in our brain as an autistic person. So my biggest thing that I'm understanding, and it took me some time to process this, is the fact that I have a hard time filling the void and filling that empty time and trying to focus on something to do. And it's taking a process, and I'm in my late 30s, and it's kind of hard to find that process. But I know this weekend's going to be busy, but in those steps leading to what I need to do, I've been having issues with Friday nights, and I know it's early Friday when I'm recording this, but those Friday nights are somewhat of a struggle for me because I might be so burnt out that I just go to bed and then I don't take my bedtime medicine. And it's been a long time since that's happened. I think I can tell when I don't do it, and it comes out very clear and dry when it happens. And I don't like the way I feel, and I don't appreciate the way that I feel about myself when it happens. Um, but I know that I need to do it today, and then you do it every day going forward. And the past week hasn't been bad. I only missed 2 days, which was the Friday and then the Tuesday. but I know I felt that way. I know how I felt. I know that I didn't feel the way that I wanted to feel. And, that's part of accepting that. But I think the biggest part of what helped why I didn't get the way that it came as it was in the past, where I had went days without taking a certain medication that I had a love-hate relationship with, was the fact that I did not keep busy, or I did not do something that brought me joy and pleasure or that I was interested in, because it was hard to find that joy and pleasure or that interest. And I was bored with it, or I just didn't want to do it, and I couldn't find the ability to ground myself into that energy and in that moment, to where I needed to be grounded and understand that it's okay, and that I'm okay, and that I need to be engaged in stuff. Yes, there's millions of things I could do, and I could, but it's about getting the energy and the want and the need to do it. And that's the hard part about it. It's hard to understand, it's hard to accept that there's this point of view that knows they need to do something, but putting forth the action is the hardest, and keeping engaged is the hardest. Um, I'm working on it day by day, and that means I have to find new interest, whether that's YouTube, or different YouTube channels, or different podcasts that I'm trying to explore about things that I'm interested in, or just understanding overall that, you know, um, I like, I need that. I need that fulfillment. I need something to keep me engaged, because when I'm not engaged, that's when the negative scripts come up, the negative echolalia, and it's not healthy, and it puts me down, and it doesn't make me feel like I'm in my control of my emotions, or in control of what I want to do. I could very well make a schedule, but for the weekends and stuff, but then we're not always things that I can count on, or be understanding of, or accept, and they could be very fluid in nature, and not be able to be a part of that. So, I think that's the big thing with me, is trying to fill the void, and trying to feel that time block with something that I know I need to do, or that I need to find that interest or hobby that I need to be in. And I know you think maybe I'm autistic and I have hobbies, but it's been a while since I've not been grounded, and so it's hard to find that hobby that I might be interested in, or I might be want to do. And I know I need to find it. And there's things I do like to do, and when I do them, I do them, but it's still challenging in nature to try to find what moves me, and what is my why, and how do I ground myself in something to keep me engaged, and not let my brain spiral out of control, not let myself get in that deep, dark rooted place that I don't want to be in. That can be the hard thing, and it's really hard to know that and understand it. But it is in any element, whether you're a day program and you're given free time, and how do fill that void, and how you realize that the negative thoughts are appearing, and you start to get frustrated with things, because the simplest of things um, get you angry or get you upset, or things that don't make you comfortable make you very upset or angry, and you can't seem to bring yourself back to the point that why you need that, and why do I understand that, and how do I understand that. um it's starting to to come to the terms that things are going to change soon. And even for me, I know if I'm taking something out of my life, I have to replace it with something that I'm going to find fulfilling and purposeful. And it's not always easy being an autistic person, especially when you can't connect with the rest of the world in the way that everybody else does it, essentially in forms of having a vehicle, and in being able to put yourself out there sometimes when you need to, and be able to, understand that, um, it needs to be, something that, something that keeps you busy and keeps you engaged and you enjoy, and maybe you laugh a little from it, but it can be hard. It's not easy. And I think that's the thing that really where my barrier comes in, especially on a Friday night when the week's all said and done and the food is had and the vlog is done and it's uploaded and stuff. Then I have that time where that void needs to be filled. And I do what I do every Friday night for the last 4 or 5 weeks, at least for what I know, possibly months more, where I'm not taking care of myself and taking the medicine and going to bed like I'm supposed to. I go to bed, but I don't take the medicine. And then, that helps me get back on ground and winds me down and keeps my mood at regulated. But, one of the greatest things I heard this week was in therapy where my mood was regulated, and it was a whole different take compared to a session 2 weeks prior. But I think I realized that I need to be regulated. I get the fact that I need to be regulated, but it's also the point of understanding that I need to have something to fulfill my void of uh, empty time, and realizing that, things are a part of what I need to do, and making sure that I know what I need to do to fulfill that void. And I've been tinkering around at things, YouTube, podcast, those all those things, that I'm trying to get into the grasp of understanding, what I like and what I enjoy, and trying to actually find out what my interests are, because essentially I'm starting a new life from 5 years ago, and I'm starting, it's like I left everything from the past 5 years that hasn't been good and healthy for me. And I'm trying to start to find that new healthy stuff, and trying to work into finding, new healthy things, and work with new healthy things, and trying to see that there's possibility of finding positivity. And I think this is a year in 2024 where I want to focus on positive things and making good outcomes out of anything I do, whether that's on my own or with family or with even friends, maybe. I don't know. The possibilities are endless in 2024. I'll be celebrating 14 years of work next week, and that's a big step because I don't think I'd ever thought I'd make it this far, but I want it to be a positive year. And there's been a lot of changes in the past year, but we'll overcome them, we'll make them, and they'll be just fine. But I think the one thing I have to get under grasp is the reality of having something to do all the time, and finding what that recovery toolbox, or as they say in rap, or whatever that may be, to get that under control and fulfill my void of empty time, so that I'm not causing myself to ruminate over and script negative thoughts that are just not true anymore. 90% of these thoughts that I'm thinking, they don't even apply, or they're not even necessary to be said, because I'm not even involved in that part of things much more. And it can be hard to understand that and hard to accept that. But I think for me, I had to finally come to terms with the fact that, I have to do something about it and work on finding interests and hobbies that are meeting my needs. And it's scary as a 30 something year old, late 30 something, where you don't know what you want to do in life, and what that may be, and what that might understand, and what that may be. What does that look like? What does that seem like? So, I'm trying to figure that out and trying to understand what that may be and what that looks like. So I'm hoping to find that, and I'm hoping to find a better understanding, a better adherence to my medication going forward. I'm doing better, but I need to do even better. And I need to try to make these events that I'm doing over the weekend more positive and outgoing. And if I do what I need to do by taking my medication tonight, I'll be great at it. So I think that's, what I need to come to terms with is the fact that the medication helps me and I realize that, but I need to keep engaged in that process so that I'm ready to keep engaged until it is time to wind down for the evening and to get through those transitions process to get to transition into getting ready for bed or what have you. Finding how that works and trying to develop a better sleep routine that would work for me. It's not always easy. It's always a challenge, but I know I can do it if I know I can do anything that I have my mind set on. And it's not hard. I just have to do it. But that's what I set forward for this week. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest at Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That website is DustinsDynastyUSA.com, and I'm on Linktree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I want to make sure that you have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.